to my TED Talk. No. Welcome to my Sunday sit down. Today is Sunday, obviously. What other day did you think it was? Today, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I made this sad attempt to do a puzzle, and you don't know this, but now you will. It's not that I have a fear of puzzles, but I have really bad ADHD, and this is just so daunting for me. Because I'm like, I don't know where to start. I don't know. Like, I space out. It's too much for me. It's like a brain overload, and it just goes and explodes, right? Oh, damn. I'm on crack. Not literally, but I'm pretty hyper right now. I had like 4 cups of coffee. Fine. Everything's fine, okay? So, grab your water, grab your tea, grab your coffee. Shit, grab your wine. Unless you don't drink, or you're pregnant, then don't drink. Today I just thought maybe we would sit down and just talk about how fucked up my life is. Maybe like one day when I'm like really famous, I can have like a TED Talk with like Gabby Hanna, and we just talk about how shitty our lives were. It's okay though, because things are evolving and we're better now. Things are great. Maybe for her, not for me. I'm gonna like look back at this and just realize that I'm actually not as funny and I just sound like a squealing pig. So, I guess we will start my life off like I started this puzzle, one step at a time. Okay. So, my name is obviously Alexandra. I'm sure you know that by now. For the 4 subscribers that I have, you guys definitely know who I am, 2 of you being family. So, I have by no means lived an awful life. I wouldn't say I lived a good life, but I wouldn't say that I lived a terrible life. At the end of the day, I have people that love me, even my mom, some of these people in the video, except my dad. Him, all right? That's a big just wanted to make that clear. If you ever see this channel, just know that you, my sir, are not welcome, period. This is definitely a touchy subject, but I promised myself this year I wouldn't hold back. Like, I don't want to feel afraid to tell my story. Like, no, I want you to hear my story, right? Like, I want you to hear. And this video isn't to spite anyone. It's not to be like, oh, like, I hate you. No, it's not any of that. Like, I still love everyone in here except my dad. I don't like him. But everyone else, like, I love them. I think they're great. I love everything about them except for things that I don't like about them. But, I mean, at the end of the day, that's family. You're never gonna like everything about your family. I was raised by a narcissistic mom. And it is not easy. I'm a psychology major, and we learned that, like, the hardest to overcome is living with a narcissistic parent. And you never, like, comprehend that until you've lived it. And it just shows, like, how strong I am, like, in my life. Like, I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings a while ago. And I got flicked off by this guy. I was like a hostess or whatever, and the guy, I guess, got his food late, and I was like, oh, have a good day, and he flicked me off. Well, I had my coworker, she, like, comes up to me, like, almost, like, in tears, like, oh my god, like, are you okay? Like, if that guy would have done that to me, I would have cried so hard. And I was like, he just flicked me off. That was it. Like, I didn't really care. I didn't even know the guy, so I didn't even care, right? And to me, like, yeah, that might be stupid and silly, but it just showed, like, how much I've actually had in my life to where this girl, I don't know her story, but for that to be, like, a big deal for her, I can imagine that she really hasn't gone through much. So, but who am I to judge? I mean, I don't know. But it has been an interesting life. I've only lived with my mom for 5 years, on and off. I didn't really like living with her, simply because she was a hoarder. I was 16 at the time, and I'm sorry, I wasn't able to concentrate in high school because all I would have to do is go home, go to work, and then come home and clean. I mean, I cleaned the house every single day just to keep it, like, clean. It was always clean when I was around because I just didn't like living in a mess. And it was awful. Like, I didn't have any friends. The only friend that I had was my best friend Nick, and we're not friends anymore, but he really does hold a very special place in my heart because he got me through some shit. Like, this kid, I wouldn't say his family's rich. I don't know their finances, but they always had money. They had good jobs, obviously. And my mom had not forgotten, she was just too lazy. She didn't want to go and sign me up for, so when you have food stamps, I don't know if it's the same in other states, but in Michigan, if you get food stamps and you have a child, you also get reduced lunch, so it's free, essentially. So my lunch was always free, but you have to, like, sign up with it, like, either every semester or every quarter, or, like, once every year. I don't know, like, how it works, right? I just know that you have to do it, like, more than once, I think, a year. So my mom just refused. She didn't want to. She kept forgetting to do it. So I wouldn't be able to get lunch, like, at all. Like, they'd be like, sorry, hon, like, I'm screwed. And I didn't have food to bring a lunch. Like, I didn't have anything. So it was at first to the point where my friend Nick, his mom was giving him extra money just to buy me a lunch at school. And breakfast. Let's not forget about breakfast. We did breakfast and lunch. And that happened, I think, for like a month, not even, until my grandma ended up finding out. And my grandma ended up taking care of me and giving me the money for school, putting it in my account, you know. And it didn't just stop there. Once my mom found out that that Nick was paying for my food, she would bribe me and be like, oh, like, you're grounded, but the only way you can hang out with Nick is if he buys me a pop. And that sounds small, right? That sounds like a small thing, like, oh, okay, no big deal, until it happens every day. And it did happen every day. My mom would be like, oh, tell Nick to buy me this, tell Nick to buy me that. You can't hang out with Nick if you don't do this. You can't hang out with Nick if you don't do that. And Nick always did it. Like, I don't know why. He would do it. And it was embarrassing, and that's why I didn't, like, have any friends. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I have anxiety, so I'm, like, picking, like, the dead skin off my foot. Look, times are tough, right? I haven't been able to go get a pedicure. So I had a friend who was always there for me, but it was exhausting, like, mentally exhausting to go through all that. And then think about, like, feeling like nobody cares about you. Like, I'm not gonna care about school. If my mom doesn't care that I'm in school, then why should I, right? That was my philosophy. I was like, well, if she doesn't care, why should I? It must not be that important. So I slacked off a lot. I slacked off bad. I ended up going to an alternative school. My mom claims that she's the one that got me in, but if we're being real here, I went to the principal and I said, look, like, I'm failing. I know I'm not going to make it this semester, and I don't want to get kicked out. So, like, I want to go to this alternative school because I had heard about it. I think I heard through, like, a teacher or something that was talking to me about it. So I told him, like, I want to be registered with this class or with this school. And, of course, I got approved because I was already failing. So the next semester of 10th grade, I went to the alternative school, and it was bad. At this point, I still lived with my mom, and I wouldn't say I lived in, like, a ghetto school, but it was, like, wannabe people who, like, thought they were more than they were, and they would try and, like, fight you all the time, and I'm like, what? So I thought I had to be, like, alpha. Like, I didn't want anyone to think, like, you can run all over me. So I I went full, like, gangster mode. I didn't care. I fought whoever I wanted to fight. If someone looked at me the wrong way, I hit them. Like, I was a bad kid. I was a bad kid. I got expelled once, but I wouldn't really call it an expulsion, right? But almost. So the end of 10th grade, I ended up getting, not in a fight, but kind of in a fight. I had really pissed off the principal at the time. I don't know, like, why I was, like, randomly going with this. I, like, pissed off the principal, who ended up later being, like, the most impactful person of my entire life. Like, Mr. K, if you ever watch this, which I doubt you will, just know that you are an OG. Like, you're a good guy. You care, and that's, like, something that's so hard to find in, like, school systems, especially in Michigan. Like, nobody fucking cares. Like, no one cares. And this man, he cared, and he was, like, cool about it, too. He wasn't, like, one of those weird, like, principals. He was a good-ass principal. I just thought I was, like, the top shit, and I got in a fight with this girl, and he's like, listen, like, I'm calling your grandma, because I think he knew. Like, he had to have known, like, my mom didn't care. So he grabbed the one person that always cared. My grandma's terrifying. My grandma is terrifying. Okay, I'm 22 years old, and my grandma still scares the out of me, and she's in her 60s, all right? That's not a joke. Like, my grandma's scary. So they call my grandma, and I'm like, pants. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. My grandma comes in, guns blazing. She's mad. Oh, she's so mad. She's, like, cussing me out, like, in the principal's office. I got people in the hallway, like, hearing this, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never gonna not hear about this. And my principal ended up saying, like, if you don't go to summer school and get this fixed, you're out. I had not even 7 credits in 10th grade. So, like, if anyone remembers high school, you have to have, like, a certain amount of credits for like a semester. I think you have to have, like, 12, or you have to have, like, 13 a year, maybe. I don't remember. I think it's 12. I think it's 6 one semester, 6 another semester, and then it's 12 throughout the year. Well, I only had 7. I had 7 credits for the whole 10th grade year. My GPA was a 0.4. A 0.40. Yeah. 0.41. Don't forget the 1. It was bad. I really didn't care about school at all. So he goes, look, I am really close to expelling you, but I'll give you another chance. If you go to summer school and you get the remaining credits that you need, like, you can come back. But if you do this ever again in my school, like, you're out for good. Like, this is your saving grace. So my grandma's pissed. We're driving home, and my grandma tells me, look, enough. Like, enough is enough. So she tells my mom to come over, because they had called my grandma, not my mom. And my grandma tells my mom, like, are you going to pay for our summer school? And my mom laughs in her face and goes,
no, that's not my problem. She should have focused on school.
Oh, that set my grandma off so bad. So moral of the story is my grandma ended up paying for me to go to summer school, but I had to live with her. Grandma talked to me, and
she was like, look, like, I don't want to make you feel like you have to be here. If you want to live back with your mom, you can live back with your mom.
So my grandma's like, look, you can decide. Like, do you want to live there or do you want to live here? And I ended up just wanting to live there. I had a better life. Like, I got to eat whenever I wanted. I didn't have to worry about cleaning. Like, I mean, I had to clean my room, and I had some chores, but nothing to the point where I have to, like, clean the walls. Like, that's what I would have to do at my mom's house. I would have to clean the walls with bleach and Pine Sol. I don't really know how we went down this, like, rabbit hole, but this is what the Sunday sit down is all about. I can literally talk about whatever and not even have to worry about any of it making sense. As long as I feel better, right? And you get to hear all my drama. So,
I got so happy. I thought that was like the puzzle piece I was looking for. You ever like have that moment when you're like doing a puzzle and you're looking for a specific piece and you like can't find it, and then you give up and you start looking for something else, and then you find the piece you were looking for? That has to be like the greatest feeling ever. I also hate when you're like doing a puzzle, right? And you have the piece right where it needs to go, but you don't know that it needs to go there until like an hour later, and you're like, oh wait, that goes there. So pizza, we are slow.
I have to hydrate. Hydrate! Every time I drink water, you guys need to drink water. Or wine. Probably not wine though, you might get drunk. It wasn't until like my last suicide attempt, which was back in August, that I was like, oh shoot, like, or it was back in like July. Yeah, it was back in July. That I was really like, I need to change. Like, I don't want to live like this anymore. Like, it's exhausting. Like, who wants to live like this? I don't. So my New Year's resolution was to just get back on track and take care of myself. I can't really like hold a job. Jobs have always been really hard for me to hold that in relationships. I can't tell you, I've never actually really had a boyfriend, so take it what you will, like take that how you will. I'm not a bad person. I'm not ready for a relationship, and I don't think that you need to love yourself before you get in a relationship, but I definitely think like you need like self-appreciation, you have to know like what's okay and what's not okay, because if you're not like self-appreciative of yourself, you're not going to realize what you don't and what you do deserve. It's just not going to work, and that's how you get taken advantage of, when you don't have enough self-appreciation or that connection with yourself.
I'm so over this puzzle.
It's like just so much that I have to go through, and I feel like it's just so much more than BPD. It's everything. It's coping with life. It's coping with having a narcissistic parent. It's coping with having mental health. It's coping with being like kicked out of the military practically. I mean, I got medically discharged, but I still got kicked out. And then it's like you don't even really have like a relationship with your grandma like you should. Like, your grandma should be your grandma, not your mom. And I think that's what stresses me out too, because I'll go and like talk to my grandma as if she's my mom, but she's my grandma, and like that's stressful. F that. Like, I don't even want to think like about my past anymore. And I mean, I guess I always will think about my past, like it's my past, but I'm like, I'm over it.
I looks demented in that, but nothing I can do. Boom! Ha! Heck yeah! I get so excited when it comes to like puzzles, because they like daunt me, and then like when I finally get it, I'm like, haha, joke's on you, but really, who's the joke on? Me.
I'm still looking for puzzle pieces. I'm like looking for like to finish this one area. I didn't know that this one stupid area would be so hard. It is. It's not like, maybe it's not even that hard. I'm just like burnt out from this puzzle, but I'm not ready to be burnt out yet. So I ended up not like getting through the puzzle literally at all. I ended up just giving up. I haven't really even touched it at all. It's just I don't do good with like doing puzzles and talking at the same time, because I'm literally just sitting here getting distracted. So that is it, guys. Enjoy my
I am recorded. Oh yeah, I am recorded.
Oh my god, I'm dumb. So I hope you guys enjoyed this like crappy YouTube video. I don't really know what it is, but you have it in your head now, your memory forever. So do with it what you will. Okay, Jolene. Alright. Bye.